quite good. The horses are in, that's quite cool, that, and I didn't even plan for that. The horses are in the sky on the top of the roof. I didn't even plan for that. Magic moments, really quite good, yeah. Yeah, I'm off today, so I'll just prattle on again. I'll just close my eyes and talk shite for a laugh. I was watching this video. This could go in a million different directions. I was watching a video and he was talking about signs that you're lonely, right? And it was like, do you do this? Can you relate to this? Do you talk to yourself as if you're having a conversation with someone else? And I kind of thought about my life things. I thought, well, essentially that's what that is, isn't it? Talking to myself. But the lecturers at university, they just do a one-way blab, don't they? Folk didn't say that's abnormal. And they've learned their subject. I've learned my subject, so I can do this if I want. I can talk one way if I want. The live thing that I did yesterday, I reviewed it and uploaded it to my YouTube, right? It's got one view. And the person that watched it only got 12 seconds in. They might have learned something had they watched the full 10 minutes, They might have actually learned something if they actually had the attention span. But the problem is we're living in such a quick fix, dopamine society that, you want a quick fix. It's like, unless it's not presented with a big cherry on top, then it's a load of bullshit, innit? But luckily I ken my own worth, I ken the validity of the things that I say. And it's turned into a kind of training diary thing, this, isn't it? And I said before to someone, I said to some extent this kind of art therapy thing sort of purges the crazy, but so to some extent it increases it. And I think, the danger is that if you do these too often, you start believing that that's reality, like just talking one way. I mean, that's the problem that I've discovered with certain folk, interacting with certain folk in my life. The thing that turns me off about folk is when they just talk at you. And they can't even, they have no social skills, they can't engage with you with stuff. They're travelled up their own ass, And you could argue that's what I've done with this, so I've turned into everything that I sort of rail against in my own mind. But I would argue that's not the case, because this is presentation mode. There's a difference between presentation mode and interacting with people in real life. This isn't real life. This is quite far away from real life. This is fantasy world. But what's wrong with that? Embrace the fantasy world. That's what children do, isn't it? Children live in their own fucking imaginary world. Why not? It's better than the real one. What else would you do if you're surrounded by a bunch of fucking gaslighting motherfuckers that devaluing you, not seeing your worth, bullying you, gaslighting you, not seeing your worth, treating you like shit, and not appreciating you for the real you? Then you would kind of turn into this kind of blah 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 blah. But whatever, that kind of thing. But anyway, that's a separate discussion, isn't it? As I say, it could go in a million different directions. Stream of consciousness. Well, I was watching thing yesterday with Graham O'Brien, right? An interview. This guy was interviewing Graham O'Brien, and he mentioned that stream of consciousness thing. That's what he does. So I'm aligned with the greats. There you go. That's not a bad thing, is it? Because world cycling legend goes off on all these streams of consciousness. He's in his own head when he's on his own. He says, what they were asking him, what do you like to do in your spare time? And he goes, I like to think. Right? And some people, the whole spiritual thing, and the whole, living in the now, all that kind of thing, right? They say that we've had the demonization of the ego, and we've had the demonization of thinking, almost, by certain people in certain quarters of that particular community, right? Well, it's like bad thinking is bad, but it doesn't mean that thinking per se is bad. I could sit here and go off in a whole big realm in my mind, right? use my imagination and think about a fucking million different things, right? That's not negative, is it? It's only negative if it's causing a problem. If it's you sitting here with negative thoughts about, I'm shit, I can't do this, da da da. So thinking, there's danger we can demonize thinking itself. I mean, when did that happen? You know, we didn't want to just be, it's alright for Eckhart Tolle sitting on his wee throne in front of a crowd and he just walks about Zen do it the whole time and doesn't think about anything. That's what he wants to do. But his job doesn't really require him to think very much. Unless he's on stage. So for him, he wants to, he doesn't think at all. But for folk that live in the inverted commas real world, that have to deal with real world scenarios, thinking is actually a part of that, isn't it? Using your brain. There's nothing wrong with using your brain if you use it in the right way. Am I using it in the right way just now? Kind of. So if we get back to the training and the two horses, right? The two horses, well, they're going in different directions, aren't they? One's going backwards and one's going forward. Galloping horses. So Graham Abbree talked about in his world hour record. He pushed himself. He pushed himself to such a ridiculous limit, you know, pushing the bounds of possibility physically when he was doing the hour record, that he related it in his book. He said that he was he imagined himself, again, the role of the imagination, you know, guided imagery you could say, but this was a different type of guided imagery. He said he witnessed himself, he visualized himself as his body was in pain all over. Even his scalp was numb. The pain that he put his body through for that achievement. When he was doing it, he visualized himself as a horse riding into oblivion. In other words, I would rather die, or I'll get this record. I'll achieve this extraordinary physical feat at the expense of my own life. And Mike Tyson talked about that, didn't he? About being willing to die for a cause. It's that type of extreme masochism, really. You know, I need to get that. And then there was a whole podcast I was listening to with, you know, is sport good for your mental health or isn't it? And he was saying about the whole, if you're doing it for results and you're doing it as to fill a gap in your life that can never be filled, then that's a negative thing. So got me related to my own endeavour, and it's not like it's the first time that I've pondered this. I mean, the amount of years I've been doing it, it's like you know, you can't be doing what reasons are you doing things? You know, are you doing it for your own sense of self-esteem, as Chris Borman said? Are you doing it for external approval, as Graham Abbree said? Are you doing it to add to the trophy cabinet? Are you doing it just because you enjoy it? And I think that's what you want to do. Just do it intrinsically, because you enjoy it intrinsically, just for the passion of it. And that's the thing. And he talked about, in this podcast, very interesting. I like listening to great minds because it rubs off on you. You go, what can I learn from this? And you just sit and meditate on it. And it was a new wee thing that I heard him say, where he was talking about don't do things. They were talking about achievement, and he said, his advice to aspiring sportsmen, he said, do it. Think of yourself as aspiring rather than wanting to achieve. The achieve is like a secondary thing. Just aspire. Enjoy it while you're doing it. But the success is almost like a byproduct or a bonus. Don't look to the success as the main focus in what you're doing. It should be all about you know, aspire to that, but don't try your best and everything. But if you're not enjoying it as you're doing it, then you're really losing, aren't you? You're really losing. You're not winning. Even if you won the trophy, if you're not happy within yourself, and you're still deeply fucked up after the achievement, then you've not really achieved, have you? You're actually a loser rather than a winner. So I saw through all this stuff when I was at some of these big races, and you could say, oh, I'm just seeing this because I'm shit, and then I'm post-rationalising. Oh, because I'm not shit, oh, I'll just criticise them all. But nah, it's not really that. It was more of a kind of, I could see the truth. Why wouldn't I be able to see the truth of these things as you get a bit older? You know, you look at a lot of them younger. It was all mixed ages at some of these events, but you're looking at them going, and I've mentioned this before, you're looking at them and you're going, yeah, a lot of yous seem like losers in a way, like in a nice way, you know. You look like there's an element of victimhood or you know, in wanting to, there's a tad of desperation in some of these people trying so hard for glory. And you look at their faces and a lot of them look fucking miserable. They're obviously just trying to heal from emotional trauma, aren't they? It's like, why? Well, that's no normal, is it? So you're dealing with a bunch of fucked up people that want to engage in a masochistic activity for an aim of a gold medal or whatever, or a podium place, or just a personal goal, sacrificing yourself for a bigger thing. I mean, you could argue that's what life is. Life is that. Everyone does that in their job, don't they? Everyone goes to work and puts in hard work for the goal of the paycheck or the salary or the position. It's the same thing with sport, isn't it? So you could argue it's the same thing, but I would argue it's kind of like, it's a little bit different because they're choosing to do that outside of their job. They're giving up all their time. There's something a little bit sort of dysfunctional about it in a way, isn't there? Or I don't know if that's the word, but you know, why would you need, if you were a well-rounded, healthy person with a good outlook in life that was perfectly, you know, well adjusted to the environment, why would you feel the need to get up in the morning early and bomb it down a motorway, a dual carriageway in your fastest skin suit to try and impress someone, or to try and achieve? You know, why would you do that if you felt happy? But then again, you could argue that that's what life is, constantly striving. We're always constantly striving, aren't we? We're always constantly striving. That's what life is. Human beings get up in the morning. We're always looking for that next, you know, thing to fill the void and everything. So, so it's a case of it's a perspective that you want, isn't it? It's a perspective that you want to gain. And Aubrey in this interview was saying that now he goes out on his bike just for fun, and there's no achievements behind it, and because there's no achievements behind it, he enjoys it a lot more. So it's kind of, he just lives in the now, and he does it passionately, and he enjoys doing it. He looks forward to do it. And he was relating back to when he was competing and saying, and all that torture and suffering and training sort of took away from the enjoyment of it. So it's a freeing thing, isn't it, when you can go, well, I don't need to achieve that thing. I mean, I've got my aspirations, my goals, but I you know, as I say, being older, you go, well, I'm not going to be Olympic champion, so that frees you up. But nevertheless, there's still glory to be had, you know, if you believe, you know. If I can believe, I can do it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. Think about it every night and day. I can. Anyway, I was round at Terry's. Kind of, I've explored many different areas, right, in the whole training thing. I've got a PhD in the shit, almost. Well, I did actually go to university, so, you know, maybe that's why I can talk about stuff with some degree of clarity. I did actually go to university. See, sometimes I talk to some people, right? They talk to me like, they look at me, or they, you know, like I'm a fucking idiot. They talk to you like they're fucking know-it-alls. some people help, when interactions with some folk help release the spirit, don't they? Some interactions with certain people constrain the spirit, you know, and I choose to surround myself with people that kind of release my spirit, you know. That's why I did all the film stuff, wasn't it? To get away from this fucking hellhole with all these stifled, gaslighting motherfuckers, you know. But there are cool people out there to meet in this world. I've got that hunger still to get out there and mix it up. And some of the races afford you that opportunity to do that. The races are fucking brilliant for that, because you meet all these fucking... It's basically like at the bistro, you're going, I can't believe I'm working in a place with all these fucking superstars, you know. Honestly, I was going, for real, you know, the people that I'm working around, I'm like, finally in an environment. It ended up being a pretty toxic environment, didn't it? But like, you're going, fucking hell, this is fucking exciting. Everybody around me, or 99% of the folk around me, they're fucking quality people, you know. But and that doesn't half lift your level, is it? You know. But in terms of some of these races that I've been to, I mean, that level of the fucking quality of the vibe, you know, the quality of the folk, you know, the fucking high achieving folk, you know, you look around you go, all these folk turned up for this brutal race, or fucking tough motherfuckers, quality people, not just like in terms of physically, but like in terms of their character. You go, there's some pretty stand up people, pretty cool people always that would look out for you in your hour of need, kind of thing, the camaraderie and all that kind of thing, you know. But at the same time, like I said before, I float between different worlds. So the kind of, you're going, yeah, on one level I feel at home, but then on the other level I feel like, I want to leave home. You know what I mean by that? I'm like, folk define you as, oh, you're a cyclist, you're an athlete. Like somebody that I work with said that before, just put you in a box, you're an athlete. Well, I'm way more than that, hen. I've done way more than that, and I'm going to do way more than that. I'm not just an athlete. And when I turn up at these things, I sometimes feel like I'm kind of looking down from it with a perspective. I'm looking down on it. I'm not really quite in the world. I'm like, I've done other things, so I'm not just an athlete. You know, it's like, so yeah, when you go to these things, it's like a mirror that holds up to you, and you go, am I really like that? You know, my brother was kind of saying, oh, I think it was nice for you to get away and, you know, and be around, you can, similar mental people like you or whatever. He didn't say it quite in that pejorative sense, but it was like, he was sort of, and I'm sort of thinking to myself, I'm way more than that. I didn't define myself. I'm not just like other folk put you in the fucking box. I'm an athlete. Yeah, that's what I am. I'm just an athlete. I'm an athlete. I go to work and I do my job, and then I'm an athlete. Right? What about all the other stuff I've done? You know, to me, I live between all these different worlds, you know, and just let the chips fall where they may, let the success come in whichever area, you know. You know, I don't like those definitions, those boxes. You know, I would never go, oh, you're a biker. Oh, you are a biker. That's what you do. You turn up and you do a motorbike ride every year with the centenary thing, with the anniversary ride and you go out and do a ride, and that's what you do. I'm a lot of things all rolled into one. I'm a bitch, I'm a lover, I'm a child, I'm a mother, I'm a saint. That's a fucking old one, that, isn't it? But anyway, I'm a galloping horse going in different directions. That's what I am. You know what I mean? Like